I can see you a little bit, and it's a little jumpy, but I
All
can
right.
see you and partially hear you. And I think the question was, how does the continental climate affect Ohio? Is that the first question? Okay. How does the continental climate affect Ohio? Well, first of all, we should explain. Continental climate itself is it's sort of a drier climate that has a number of different extremes as far as a couple of different things are concerned. First of all, we got to think about we have to think about the water aspect of it, rain and precip, and we have to think about the temperature aspect of it as well. And we know, being in a continental climate here, that we can experience some pretty decent extremes. Everything from temperatures that go deep sub-zero, true temperatures before wind chill, and temperatures that can break 100 degrees or better in some cases before heat index. So we know we have those extremes, and we know we have the moisture extremes as well. If you think about it, we haven't had any rain in 3 to 5 days here, and we don't expect any for the next 7. That, by definition, might actually put us in a desert climate situation. So the way it affects us is it allows us here in Ohio to really experience all the different seasons that come along with it. It's a northern hemisphere type of a climate, and that is us. And when you're in a continental climate, you don't have a large body of water, an ocean near you to inject moisture into that atmosphere and allow you to build that up. So what we do have in Ohio, however, are the Great Lakes, just north of us. Of course, we've got Lake Erie, which is a massive source of moisture for us, and it gives us the opportunity for things like lake effect rain and snow. And then we get a Lake Huron fetch as well, if you get a long enough fetch off of out of the north there. So the continental climate for us really breaks down to, in essence, 4 seasons, and that's usually pretty much the way it works out for us.
All right. And then the next question is, what gets affected more, plants or animals, by continental climates?
Okay. Well, what gets affected more, plants or animals? I would say it would probably be plants, simply because, on a daily basis, we talk about the water cycle in general, the moisture that is being pulled from the earth, pulled from the soil, and then working its way up into the atmosphere through evaporation and evapotranspiration, and then ultimately coming back as rain. We know that when we get into a particular time of year, we start to lose a little bit of that moisture. Rain and even snow does not occur quite as frequently. It becomes much more dry. We have a number of plants that die off, some that actually come back, but that would affect us, I think, primarily initially. And then the animals beyond that, they're affected as well, simply because so many of them, especially lower on the food chain, are herbivores, animals that eat those plants. And then you've got the animals that eat those animals that are above that. And so I would say initially, our particular climate affects plants first, but then is sort of a domino effect all the way out to the animals themselves, and in reality, all the way up to us, the apex predator of these animals.
I had one thing for me to know about continental climates. What would it be?
The one thing you would need to know, I would say, is that the continental climate is, I would say, of all the climates, it is the premier climate. And you want to say that because that's the climate you live in. But the reality is, if you think about a desert climate, which, by the way, desert is more about moisture than it is temperature. I mean, you can have polar deserts, the North and the South Pole. You could be talking about a polar desert situation. So you're talking about a lack of moisture there. And then when you talk about temperature extremes, we're not all that bad in that situation either. We actually do pretty well, considering we've got these temperate zones in spring and fall, where we have days like today, where overnight lows were only, in the 50s, and then your daytime temperatures in the mid 60s to upper 60s. So it really works out that we have probably more, the continental climate is, of all the climates, in my opinion, probably the most livable of all the climates.
Yeah. All right.
Did that work out for you?
Once
Okay.
Again.
Okay, no problem, Tommy. You got it, man. We'll talk soon.